Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Man burned to death, another shot dead in early morning attack in Granville. A senior citizen is among two men who were killed after gunmen went on a shooting spree and torched three houses in Granville St. James early this morning. One of the men was reportedly burned to death, while the other was shot and killed. The police have not yet disclosed the identities of the victims. There have been several tit-for-tat killings recently in St. James as tension between warring factions intensifies. Police list persons of interest in Portland ganja bust. One man has been listed as person of interest in the recovery of 200 pounds of ganja in Portland on Saturday night. He is 43-year-old Garth Ferguson of Rocky Point in Clarendon. According to reports, three men were aboard a boat transporting contraband when it became engulfed in flames. Two of the men reported received burn injuries and left the area in a white Toyota motor car with a 5878 HP license plate affixed. They are also listed as persons of interest in the incident. All three men are at large. Meanwhile, the Portland police have dubbed the recovery of 200 pounds of ganja as another dent in the drugs for gun trade. The recovered contraband is said to have a street value of approximately $1.4 million. The Portland police are asking persons with information to contact the Manchester Nail Police Station at 876-783-0708, the Port Antonio CIB at 876-322-9263, or the Parish Operations Office at 876-322-9357 or 876-440-1526. 429 COVID-19 cases, 10 additional deaths. Jamaica recorded 429 new COVID-19 cases and 10 deaths on Saturday, bringing the infection total to 82,778 and the virus death toll to 1,834. The Ministry of Health and Wellness reported that the new cases comprise of 243 females and 176 males with ages ranging from 3 days to 102 years. The cases were recorded in Clarendon 52, Kingston and St. Andrew 82, Hanover 5, Manchester 17, St. Anne 31, Portland 53, St. Catherine 93, St. Elizabeth 14, St. James 28, St. Mary 21, St. Thomas 4, Westmoreland 11, and Trelawney 18. The deceased are a 76-year-old female from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 48-year-old female from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 92-year-old female from Kingston and St. Andrew, an 89-year-old female from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 69-year-old female from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 38-year-old male from Kingston and St. Andrew, a 64-year-old female from St. Anne, a 67-year-old male from St. Anne, a 62-year-old female from St. Mary, and a 70-year-old female from Portland. The deaths occurred between September 18 and September 24, 2021. There are 28,260 active cases island-wide. Meanwhile, 226 more persons have recovered over the last 24 hours, bringing the total number of recoveries to 52,097. Currently, 648 people are hospitalized, 102 of which are severely ill, 43 are critically ill, and 124 are moderately ill. Fully vaxxed. Jake's Hotel and Jack Sprat Restaurant and Bar have become the first such operations in Jamaica's tourism sector to have all staff vaccinated against COVID-19, Chairman Jason Hensel reported yesterday. Hensel reported by telephone that all but 5 of 125 staff members have taken their vaccination shot by the time family-owned hotel and adjoining restaurant reopened on September 20 after a 3-week break for annual renovation. He said the remaining 5 employees who declined to be vaccinated against the COVID-19 came to an amicable separation agreement with the company using similar calculations to redundancy. This is a proud achievement for the Jakes family, and we believe it 100% vaccination is the way forward in dealing with the health crisis, said Hensel, who has led the management of the acclaimed beachside hotel and restaurant for 26 of its 28 years in existence. Governments and mainstream health-related organizations, including the World Health Organization have identified comprehensive antivirus vaccination programs as well as protective protocols as the way to combat the virus, which have taken more than 4.5 million lives globally since late 2019. In excess of 1,800 people have died in Jamaica from the virus since March of 2020. Vaccine shortages in earlier months and current hesitancy on the part of some people in taking the jab have hampered the inoculation campaign in Jamaica and many other countries. Hensel said that for months before the first batch of vaccines arrived in Jamaica earlier this year, he had started to sensitize his staff and others at community tourism-oriented Treasure Beach that vaccination would become a must in order to keep business afloat. That became more and more of a reality in recent months as the front desk receptionist staff at Jake's reportedly an increased number of calls from prospective visitors inquiring about levels of vaccination as this was critical to their decision-making. Hensel said he took the approach of patiently encouraging staff to get medical advice from our doctors or their doctors, sometimes in group sessions. Other forms of encouragement include offering to take employees from their homes to the vaccination centers. He said trust was also gradually built as employees and the wider community observed Jake's consistency delivery of material assistance to the health sector. Hundreds of lunches and other material support were provided for health center workers in nearby communities as part of a kind of insurance policy. Jake acquired quantity of medical oxygen just in case. As it turns out, short oxygen was used up and had to be replenished and people got sick in Treasure Beach and surrounding communities. All of that helped us to be the source around time, said Hensel. Arriving guests have played important roles in affirming for staff members that getting vaccinated made sense. People coming in the hotel are saying, when you are vaxxed, that makes we feel safe. All of that has helped, said Hensel. He claimed the experience at Jake's and the wider Treasure Beach had made him a believer that, as vaccination soars in tourism source, markets such as North America and Europe, those taking holidays will be increasingly going to places where they believe others are also vaccinated. That's where we are headed, said Hensel. It was a consideration he believed that Jamaican government will have to speedily take on board. Increasingly, people who are vaccinated are going to want to be free to move about. They are going to want to be asking, why do I have to be living with the same exact restrictions as others who have taken the vaccine? In the service industry, we have to be cognizant of that. Those are the realities we have to come to terms with, he said. Currently, 25% of Jake's 75 rooms, including villas, are occupied by visitors. Hensel hopes the situation will improve substantially by the start of the new winter season at year-end. That, he said, will be largely dependent on how Jamaica manages virus spread and the vaccination program over the next few months. Hensel described the last 18 months since COVID-19 took set in Jamaica as a very trying, challenging period when you really had to dig deep in all aspects of operation, leaning on relationships with employees, guests, creditors, suppliers, millions of dollars owed to you and millions of dollars owed by you to people. It was especially bad when business had to shut down because of virus surges. The situation got so bad that Lover's Leap attraction at Yardy Chase, close to Southfield, was closed indefinitely and staff position made redundant in June of this year. Jakes had acquired the scenic romantic attraction under a lease agreement with government in late 2017. It was making impressive stride when COVID-19 hit. I expect that in time we will be able to reopen Lover's Leap once things improve, said Hensel. Beyond closure of Lover's Leap, other tough business decisions became compulsory. We had to sell land to remain solvent, he said. Hensel said he was able to plan ahead and to some extent prepare for the severity of the COVID-19 crisis because of research he did on the Spanish flu pandemic of a century ago, which killed millions across the globe. I did my reading and realized that the pandemic lasts 2 to 3 years, and I say to myself, if that lasted so long, why not COVID? That realization helped a lot, said Hensel. He knows that the current pandemic is set to last longer than 2 years. How much longer and the possible consequences remain big questions. Perrin regrets allegations of physical abuse at boys' home. Chairman of the Clifton Boys' Home, Reverend Harley Perrin, has described as regrettably the allegations of physical abuse which led to the arrest and charge of 3 workers, a senior citizen and 2 of her close family members, by the Westmoreland Police on Thursday. According to the Constable's Corporate Communications Unit, manager of the facility, 80-year-old Irene McDonald, was charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm and unlawful wounding. Meanwhile, her son, 58-year-old William McDonald, assistant manager, and her granddaughter, 35-year-old Rashida McDonald, a housekeeper at the facility, have both been charged with assault occasioning actual bodily harm. The 80-year-old accused has reported the work at the facility for 4 decades. The allegations, said Reverend Perrin, have thrown the facility into a negative light. The parties are no longer associated with the home, and the home is now feeling the kickback from this. But it is what it is. We have persons who are calling from abroad, wanting to know about the situation, and almost losing confidence. Maybe that's a little too strong to say, but they need to be assured that everything is still all right here. So it puts the home in a bad light, not in a good light. We would prefer that the home continues to be seen in a good light, Reverend Perrin reported. It has been most unfortunate from day one, and I just remain saying the whole thing is unfortunate. That's all I will say now. I said a lot in the initial stages. I continue to say it is just unfortunate. In the meantime, a news release from the Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, noted that the agency takes a zero-tolerance approach to all forms of violence against children and incorporating with the police as they carry out their investigations. Meanwhile, Minister of State of the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, Robert Nestor Margon, said people working with childcare ecosystem must be reminded to act in the best interest of the children in their care at all times. Persons within the child protection system are prescribed persons and have a greater duty of care under the provisions of the Child Care and Protection Act, he noted. It was reported that over the period under investigation, 8 boys from as young as 10 years old to 17 years old were physically abused by the 3 accused. One of the accused was said to have used a metal chair to beat a 17-year-old boy. It is also alleged that another time he used a piece of board to beat a 15-year-old boy and drag another down the stairs. It is further alleged that another accused beat 4 other children, resulting in bruises and wound to one of them. There were also allegations that on another occasion one of the accused physically assaulted 2 other boys. A report was subsequently made to CPFSA and the police. An investigation was launched and the 3 accused arrested and subsequently charged. Earlier this year, upon receiving reports, the CPFSA launched an investigation into allegations of physical abuse of wards of the state by staff of the residential childcare facility. This resulted in the suspension of some staff members. The police also conducted their own investigations, which led to Thursday's arrest. Clifton Boys Home was established in 1961 and is a private facility licensed for a capacity of 35 boys ages 7 to 18 years. The building was destroyed by fire in January 2017, displacing 28 boys. The Anglican Church on Jamaica, which operates the home, had stated that it would take $60 million to rebuild the facility. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.